Good morning. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Executive Insights.
The most informative stream for aspiring and growing entrepreneurs.
I'm the CEO of FaceTime, as well as the founder for FaceTime Foundations, Gervais Nelson, alongside my amazing co-host.
Hey y'all, so I am Marie Rose, CEO of Rosebud Studios and president and founder of Rose Petals to Success.
This week, I think we have 3 real questions. Marie, please tell everyone what they are.
Okay, so I thought our other questions was real too. Wait, you said these are real. So let's see what they say, y'all. Question 1, how do you validate if an idea is worth pursuing in business? Okay. All right. Question 2, what's an early mistake someone can make when transitioning from a solo hustle to a legitimate business entity? Oh, wow. And question 3, how do you handle burnout or decision fatigue during high growth phases?
Pretty real.
Please remember, everything we're about to share is from our personal experiences. Even though you could apply the information and the advice to your business, we want to make sure that the advice is specifically for your business. So schedule a one-on-one with either myself or Gervais so that we can make sure the information fits your special needs for your business.
All right. With that said, feel free to add your comments, drop your likes, drop your shares, and of course, do not forget to subscribe as we're about to go in and share some executive insights. So question 1, this is for our aspiring entrepreneurs thinking about starting a business. This one's for you. How do you validate if an idea is worth pursuing in business?
If you have an interest, and I don't mean your interest, because your interest won't pay the bills, right? But if you have something that you've created and you see that people have an interest in whatever it is you created, whether they ask can they support you and they can buy it and then they love it. If it's a product or a service, you provided a service and you start to get other people who are asking you now for this service, then it may be something that you would recommend that you turn into a business.
I'll double down on what you're saying in a sense to validate your business more or less, or does it validate your business? 1, is there a need for it? What problem are you solving? What solution are you giving to a problem? Always is one good way to say, okay, this hobby or this thing can actually now become a business. Is there a target market for it? A lot of times we have hobbies, but if there's no one that wants to buy into what you're doing or what you're selling, it's not going to last long, in which case it stops being fun immediately. But if it solves a problem, if you have a market, how much are people willing to pay for it, and how much are they willing to pay for it to sustain you as a business? Those 3 for me are like 1, 2, 3. You can do it, but make sure that somebody wants it. Make sure it's something that you can do. Make sure it solves a problem, because that's what's going to keep you going and wake you up every day. Like, that'll give you your why, because you feel like you're solving a problem, and then you're getting paid for something that you love to do. Go over to question number 2. This is for our new business owners. What's an early mistake someone can make when transitioning from a solo hustle to a legit business entity? I think the biggest mistake that I see people make is that, especially going from a solo hustle to a legitimate business, they leave their day job too soon. A lot of times you can keep that 9-to-5 business and just keep using that money to be your first sponsor, be your first person that will actually invest in your business. Keep working that 9-to-5 until it doesn't interfere with your actual day-to-day operations of your business. You can use that money, you can invest in your projects. You can buy that bigger lens, you can buy that bigger mower, you can buy the more material you need when the customers aren't rolling in, so that you can bring in a more high-end type of customer or client. So keep that 9-to-5 until you can't keep it anymore, and then fire your 9-to-5 when you're actually ready, when it replaces your salary. So that would be my suggestion for that one.
I was losing it and it was coming back, so I was hoping you went a little bit longer.
All right.
So for me is forgetting to get out of survival mode.
Like that.
Because when you are hustling, you in survival mode. You are making money to make it happen, right? So when you become a business owner and you took that hustle, that's how you built it.
Right.
So understanding that now it's time, when do you level up? When do you transition? What does that look like? Do you leave the paper receipts and go into digital? You know, do you have books now and Excel sheets to report? Do you pay taxes? You know, what does that look like? So charging your right prices, because now you have things that you need to pay, like taxes and payroll. When do you elevate to a team? So I think that's the biggest mistake, is that people turning a side hustle into a business, is understanding when to level up and when to elevate, and when survival mode has expired.
That's a great answer, actually. I love that one. Question 3. This is for our established business owner, scaling up, longevity. You've been around, just looking for something new, something fresh. Maybe you just want to hear what's out there and what's going on lately. Mm-hmm. How do you handle burnout or decision fatigue during high growth phase? That's a good. I think we're currently there now.
We are. So something someone told me. I have so many things that, like, little tidbits that people told me during my process, and I think, and when I say my process, I don't mean the past 6 years. I mean the past 2, right? Or since last year, because since last year, that's when I realized I reached that point where it was time to elevate to the next level, and I had to make valid decisions onto, like, what's next. And one person is a president of a CDFI, and he said, you need a think partner. A lot of times when we think of new ideas, we keep those ideas. We're the only one brainstorming them ideas. We write them down, the do's, the don'ts, the positive, the negative, whatever. And there's no third view anywhere in that decision-making process. Yeah. And sometimes you just need that person to say, hey, this is what's on my head today. And that person saying, oh, that's awesome. Did you think of this? They may be so left field, but a portion of what they said may be a light bulb that you needed to make your idea really get put together. Another thing is, I have been quoting her since she came on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yes. And when I say I have been so obedient to the universe, and it is because we have to have self-care. Mm-hmm. And being obedient to the universe is understanding when my body, my mental, my physical has had enough and is tired. Because sometimes physically I may be tired, but mentally I can't cut it off. And I don't feel like they talk to each other. So being obedient to the universe makes you stay grounded and understand and take a holistic view of yourself and say, I need a break. In order for me to pour, I have to pour from a full cup, not an empty one. Mm-hmm. In order for my business to flow, it flows based on where I am. If I'm chaotic in my head, my business is running chaotic. If I'm chaotic in my house, everything is chaotic. So everything has to be in order and have balance in order for me to really flow and be productive and successful. What I'm doing to avoid burnout.
That is, so we're about to have 2 completely different answers.
Oh, I love that.
I love when we have these. I come from more of a push through, nobody's coming to save you mentality, which is like, I just keep pounding and I'll write it out, I'll draw it out, I'll whiteboard, and I'll just keep getting it out of my head. Like, I don't want it, because like you said, that's why I pointed at you when you said it, I can't shut it off. So even when I'm relaxing, I could be like on a massage table or like in a cryotherapy room, and I'm still thinking. It's like I can't turn it off. I'm on vacation. I can't turn it off, no matter how bad I want to. So as the ideas are coming to me, I write it down. And as it comes to me, I'll write it down, and then I'll map it out. And as I'm going through it, I just fight through it. And it just clicks. Like, the more and more I fight through it, the more I draw it out. Like, I'm a visual learner. So the more I see it, the more I can kind of say, okay, cool, here's the burnout. But I think the burnout for me is holding it in. As I put it out, I feel like refreshed. Like, oh, there it is. I see the problem. I see where the roadblock is. Now that I see the roadblock, I'm like a puzzle person. So as I see the puzzle, it's kind of like, how can I fix this problem? Mm-hmm. And then it becomes more fun. Like, all right, I see what I got to do here. Okay, I see what I have to do here. And I can just kind of put it together. If I need to tap somebody in to say, hey, help me out right here. This is what I'm thinking here. This is what I'm thinking here. What do you think? And I'll get their input, and I'll just put it all together and say, all right, this is the best solution for this problem. And it's like, problem solved. And then the next thing. And then it's just like constant. But me doing the work, I don't burn out. I don't know why. I'm just like a machine in that sense.
Yeah, because for me, so I want to relate, but I don't know if like certain parts, because for me, all right, it just went all over, right? Like my brain is like shooting and misfiring at different places. So for me, I don't release it because if I say it out loud, I'm implementing it and it's there.
Right.
So for me, all those little cells need to stay until they create what they need to. Because if I put it on paper or I say it out loud, whatever I say out of my mouth, I'm doing.
Right.
And that is burnout for me because if I said it, I'm doing it and I'm not stopping until I do it.
For sure.
But if I kept it in here, I'll sit on it and I probably will forget because something else is going to put in the forefront and then I'm going to come back to it later. For example, what I just launched, which I'm not going to say publicly on here, but it is out there though. I built that, released a flyer in 2022 and forgot about it.
Wow. See, that would bother me.
Forgot about it, deleted the Instagram off of my account so I couldn't see it, and because it wasn't the time. And I literally forgot about it for 3 years.
Wow.
And when I tell you Saturday, the last Saturday, when I was laying in the bed, I was like, I could do this. And I was like, wait, I did that already. Found the old flyer with the date of 2022, and now is the time to launch it.
Wow.
And I thought, and you couldn't tell me I didn't have this brand new idea in my head. No, it was compartmentalized in my head for when it was time. And so I think I have to do that. That is a word that I think I learned on this podcast. I swear, because I just said it for the first time since I stumbled like months ago.
Compartmentalized.
Yes, and I'm not saying it again. But that is what prevents me from having the burnout. I don't think I ever can turn stuff off either. But I sometimes need my brain to catch up with me physically to say, live in the moment. That's what it is.
Gotcha.
I'm very much a live in the moment person now. And if I'm living in the moment, I can't be thinking about this, that, and this. That's why I binge watch shows, and I try to stay away from business books when I'm focused on self-care. Because whatever I'm focused on needs to be around what I'm really needs to be centered on at that moment.
It's so like this is the thing we're like total opposites, and I love the fact that we are right now because it's like I don't have a really strong support. I've never really had a really strong support system, so I'm always used to being back against the wall. There's a tunnel. I know I have to get there. How I'm gonna get there, I don't know, but it's down. I got it. I mean, I would say like before, and I do things backwards. Like I got my goal at the end. Now I have to figure out how I'm gonna get there. And in the moment, I'm just full steam ahead until I get it. And it's like you said, you were full steam. I'm full steam in another way. Like any obstacle that comes up in that time period, it's moving. I'm pushing it, I'm shoving it, and I'm gonna get to where I gotta go because I gotta get there. But in the times where I'm resting and thinking about it, it's relaxing for me to do the puzzle. It's just really relaxing to me. It's really comforting. So where some people it burns them out, for me, it's the opposite. Like the work itself relaxes me.
That's why you are good with risk assessment, whereas creating a risk assessment for me is stressful.
Really?
Yeah, because thinking of all the things that could go wrong in my business would stress me out.
Keeps you up.
Like, oh my gosh, somebody can fall. Oh my gosh, somebody can. That would stress me out. I don't want to think about all the risk.
And maybe that is the difference because, and with our projects, I'm thinking about, I'm up 2 days before, a week before, that's why I do my own consultations. And I'm looking at every single thing that can go wrong. And I dissect it 100 times over. So when the phone call comes in and they're like, oh, this just happened. I'm like, oh no, it's cool. Don't do that. Don't worry about that. Here, instead do this. So I break the whole thing down beforehand so that when we're in it, nothing shocks me.
Yeah, and
absolutely nothing shocks me.
That's the part where
and that's my peace of mind of how I get to live in the moment.
Yes, because that's the part. Like you want to see that you're a planner. I'm not. I'm a risk it all. Right? So that's when it's like that connection, but that's total opposite.
Right.
Brings it together because it's like, yeah, I know who to go to if I really need a plan. Because I know you have to know yourself first, right?
For sure.
And I don't know how you were, but in the beginning of business, it took me a while to learn that. Because when we start, everybody starts with the same mindset that we just like, okay, oh my gosh, this is our new business. Like Bernard would say, this is our baby,
Right.
you know, and then you develop as you listen to yourself and you learn more about yourself, you realize what your strengths are and your personality is in your planning process. And yeah.
My personality with it all is I'll do what I want with it. Like no one can tell me what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's this today, but it's my platform. I don't have to change and create a new platform. It could be landscape today, and then tomorrow I'll just decide I don't want to do landscape anymore. I want it to be a painting company. It's my platform. You can't tell me what to do with it, and I'll change it.
You just sounded like a whole kid. Like, this is my toy, and I do what I want with it.
It's probably super childish, super petty.
Like you, but you
it's mine.
gave the whole facial expression and all. Like, yeah,
Maybe it's the middle child syndrome / because
don't say that. I'm a middle child.
I'm the middle child on one side. I'm the youngest on the other. So my mom's youngest. I'm my dad's middle. So you get the best of both worlds with me. It's really petty. It is what it is. But I did it. I made it. It's mine.
Yeah, but that's the good thing about it, though. Like,
I'm not married to any of it.
No,
I'll blow the whole thing up tomorrow.
I really will. I think it comes, and maybe it's the years, right? Mm-hmm. But before, in the beginning, now we don't went somewhere else.
Yeah, well, now we're just talking. This whole thing good.
Yeah, but no, people might enjoy this though, for real. But like our first couple, because we used to do this in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Our first couple years, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't fail. Now I'm like, yo, blow the whole thing up. I'll recreate it next month. Let me go to the beach first. I'll figure it out, and then I'll be back. Oh, you want it? Take it. Take all of it, because I'm about to rebuild it tomorrow. Like,
you know what it is? Correct me if I'm wrong. When you make your first $100,000.
Mm-hmm. How you know what I may say?
Hypothetically. Made my first $100,000. Oh. And after that, you kind of like, I can do this whenever I want.
Once you
the little arrogance kicks in a little bit.
Yeah, yes. Because
I love
when they say be humble, because that has a whole different meaning. But we're going to do a different show on that. But it's once you make...
I highly recommend you keep this part in. To every business owner, everyone that looks to become a business owner, anybody that's interested in business, look up the word humble in the dictionary. If that word represents who you want to become in business, you will not be successful and you will not make it. You cannot be humble in business.
Let me look at this word. Hold on.
That's just my opinion. All right, we'll get ready for the next question. While you look that up, I guess we're rolling, you can cut, but go ahead and look the word up.
Oh no, see, I'm not lacking in pride.
You cannot look, you can read it out. Go ahead, read it out. You can't.
Humble describes someone who is modest, lacking in pride, and not boastful. It can also refer to something that is low in status or quality. Additionally, humble can be used as a verb meaning to make someone less proud or to destroy their independence.
I, and no one in business, can be humble as a business owner or an entrepreneur.
Wow.
Sorry, not sorry. All right, bonus question.
All right.
Is our moment of transparency. Entrepreneurship comes with highs, it comes with many lows. What's a bold risk you took in business that didn't go as planned, and what did it teach you about leadership? For me, I put a personal post on my social media page. I learned a valuable lesson that day, because who I am, my page isn't my page. It's always about your brand. It's always people watching you. It's always people that's going to judge you, and you can suffer very badly on the end up as a business. What you say in your private page can affect your business. So I learned as a leader that at all times, people that are watching me, looking up to me, work for me, they're always looking at my posts. So anything that I post that's not a good representation of excellence or anything that's like confrontational can be taken out of context. So I learned a very valuable lesson that day, and I'm very mindful of what I post on social media.
I don't know how I feel about that answer.
I know. And I know, especially giving your stance. So, but that was one that I learned. Because it's...
But I struggle with that too.
So here's the thing. For leadership, I'll elaborate. In leadership, you can have a deal that's on the table that you don't know about. And the person can love you, the person can love your body of work. But Saquon Barkley, for example, here's a great example. Mm-hmm. Just ran for 2,000 yards, led the Eagles in what they let him in. And he went down and shook hands with Trump. He's catching a lot of slack now because of his decision to go out and do what it is that he felt like he wanted to do. But now when he's catching on the back end, different deals that he probably could have got invested in, his production, his reward for his production is now being affected because of what he decided to do. But because you're viewed now as controversial for whatever reason, I mean, it can affect not only you as a leader, I'm talking as a leader. Sometimes those decisions can now affect your whole team because now you're taking money out of your team's mouth based on a decision or something that you wanted to do.
So the reason that I don't know how I feel about that is because do you really want me for me, or you want me for who you think that I am? Which is hard, because if I am preaching that I am me and I am uniquely me, why do I have to hide what I love to do because I don't want to upset you, because you may pull out of a contract because you think that you know who I am but you really don't?
That's the part that I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's the part that's hard.
That's the hard part.
I want to do what I want to do all the time.
Yeah.
But the leadership part becomes, I can't do what I want to do all the time because it can affect not only me and my business, but those that rely on me as the leader.
Yeah.
So that's the growth stage that I learned. Like, oh, I can't do what I want to do because what I want to do affect those that rely on me.
Yeah.
And that's the part where it's like, I'm not saying don't stand up for what you believe in. I'm saying some of the things that you may do can cost you and those that rely on you. You are the leader of your ship.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That's the hard part. Because of that, like, I had to learn about that on social media too, because I post what I wanted to post. But at the same time, once people were responding to me, that at that moment when you post something, you don't realize that certain people are watching you until they comment or like. And you're like, oh, like that's like your parents seeing that. Yep. And you're like, oh, wait, this is no longer private. I can't even say I learned from others' mistakes. I learned from my mistakes. So there's a list of things that I could say that I've done, and I was like, whoa. But the one thing that keeps coming to my mind nearly ruined my reputation when I had to figure out how I can change this. And it was feeling like I needed a huge team that I couldn't afford. And I wasn't ready. And until I understood what that looked like, instead of listening to everybody else tell me what I need. You need a person to this. You can't be every hat. They forget to mention that you have to be every hat until you can afford not to be. Honestly, the hats that you bring in, to the heads you bring in to wear those hats, if they're not qualified, you're wasting your time. So you're throwing money because you're still working. So at one time, I had only 2 businesses at that time, but I had a staff of 19 in one of them. When I say a staff of 19, I had about 4 or 5 people working one shift at a time. And I was sitting at home watching TV, but still watching my cameras. And I'm still working, and I'm paying all these people, to the point where I was actually doing night watch. I would ride up in my car and sit across the street in parking lots, because I had this visual that this is what I was supposed to do. So the bold move was having hiring events, thinking I could be HR and a CEO and everything, and hiring all these people and not being able to afford, and really like damaging my reputation as a business owner, because I went back into worse than survival mode and had to retrain myself how to get out of that, which took probably 2 years to do. So yeah.
All right, with that said, any final words, closeout, plugs, or anything before we shut it down?
Yes, shout out to Vase Time again, because yes, I saw your magazine article for top landscaping company in Philadelphia. However, I also saw you fixing your work in the airport, and I saw people checking it out, and they must have been touching it, which, can you tell the airport to put a glass around it? But shout out to you, because that's so dope. And people, you are truly inspiring people by actually seeing your face in the airport, because I feel like that is so dope that they captured you putting it together to put the person next to it. A lot of times I walk through the airport and I see the art and I'm like, who did this? Like, that's decent. But to see someone that represents our community and actually there, you see his face next to the art, is pretty dope. And the fact that you don't understand how much you're inspiring entrepreneurs, because they are taking pictures of it and sharing it with you to show you, but they're inspired by that. My Kids Zone is launching in June. So if any camps, summer camps, daycare centers want to have group trips to come to our Kids Zone in North Philly, we're doing it for the community Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. But that's not it. There's no other place in Philly that you can book a business suite or a business room and have a business meeting while your kids is in the fun zone next door. So no one is doing that, and people forget. We talk about building businesses based on passion. I am a mother. My kids come to work with me. Summer camp is expensive, so book a suite at Rosebud Studios and send your kids to the Kids Zone.
Want to encourage you to drop your questions, comments, likes below. Every Sunday, join us for a new episode of Executive Insights. Be sure to subscribe, stay inspired, keep creating.
See y'all.